Welcome to part 4, everybody. Today, we're going to finish up with that mandala reading. Then we're going to talk a little bit at the end, and she's going to offer free mandala readings for people. And I will say that in the video. So if you're interested in getting mandala reading like I did today and through these last 3 parts, please just drop a comment below. I'll be selecting people. Depending on how many people we do get interested in the mandala reading, we might have to separate it, or we'll do something special for you guys. But if you're interested, just drop a comment below and we'll get back to you. Thanks. Enjoy part 4.
There's one color that we didn't talk about, and that color is very predominant in your mandala, and that's the color of brown.
Yeah.
The color of brown. And if you take a look at it, that is who you are. It is that earthiness about you, Brent. It's about wanting to go back to that root of who you are you being, and what is it that you really want to achieve in your life. And it says it all right there, is that balance between that spiritual and the physical. It's that balance between knowing and unknowing and trusting that the answer will come. And when we follow to intuition, we have the ability to make that choice, to achieve what we want, to gain the accomplishments that we want to get. Now, the brown in yours is your stabilizing color. It's that color of Mother Earth. And so the encouragement is this: when you're confused and you're wanting to know, where do I go? And you just don't know where, and you're at that point where, oh, I'm so stuck. Your mandala really tells me it's time for you to stop what you're doing and go outside and reconnect with Mother Earth. That's what keeps you stabilized. So when you find that you're in that you're feeling pent up or caged, it's time to come back to your mandala and just see that feeling of being open. It's that bud, right? That bud that opens up. Go outside and go look in your garden. My God, the things that you explained that you already have growing in your back garden, it depicts what you truly are looking for also.
Yeah, it's definitely a little jungle out there.
Yeah. You know what is so amazing, Brent, is remember when I first signed on, I couldn't sign on because there was a what was that? The password.
Yeah.
And then you said, oh, the password is grow. The password is grow. There are no coincidences. Yeah. Look at your mandala. It's about growth.
Yeah.
It's about growth. And the Zoom wasn't going to let me in until I got it right. And I had to get it right by using grow. Isn't that amazing? No coincidences, yes?
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay, so I love this reading. And I don't know if you're done or not, but I have one question that I've been dying to ask. And I've actually been dying to ask it since I was doing it. So I did all of the leaves like almost first, I did some of the outlining and stuff, and then I did the leaves. Now I left this one and this one, and I didn't even notice that they weren't colored. And my girlfriend came in and she was like, hey, those aren't colored. And I was like, I didn't even notice that. I was like, that has to mean, like, I didn't even intentionally do it. It was just not colored.
Remember what we said white represented? White represented the purity of thought, the purity of truth. And in everything that you do, Brent, you are looking for the truth. You stand by that. When you know that someone is not being truthful with you, I've seen it, Brent. That takes you out. Because truth, integrity, is what you stand on. Yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about those experiences. But you know what I noticed without like she pointed them out, and I guess I just now noticed that if you actually took that little plant and moved it all the way around to the top side of the circle, it's the exact same leaf in the exact same spot. It's mirrored.
And take a look at it. It is mirrored, but at the same time, it is then that opposite attract, that yin and yang positions, up and down. And so in everything that you do, you hope to find truth there, purity. And I did notice that there were 2 leaves that I did not see colored. So it's so funny that you brought that up. And there is purity in soul, and there's purity in balance. And when we have the absence of color, we also have protection. Because white is that color of protection, yes?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, you know, with the gold that is self-containment that you are achieving. And so the other colors help support that. For me, you asked, where am I going? You're on a spiritual journey. No doubt. How do I get to the next level? It's the depth in which you're willing to go to understand the balance for yourself. And what is your passion? Your passion right now is that spirituality that you so want to have, because when you, and this is what is coming to me right now, is that spirituality for you is the ability to be absent of judgment, to be able to see, hear, and interact with someone without getting stuck in what's going on from a physical perspective. Follow your intuition, because there is purpose behind what you are embarking on doing. That is the essence of your mandala. It's true spirituality is what I believe you were after there. And then the balancing and the way you colored it is just priceless.
It sings my story.
And that is what a mandala reading looks like.
Wow. That was incredible, Mamie.
That was amazing.
So well, I do have, I really have a couple more questions. Where did you learn how to read the mandala like this?
It is, I'm open right now. And so what I mean by open is I have had no formal training. Okay. It's a gift that I discovered in my darkest moment in my life when, although I said I got places to go, people to see, things to do, I was really scared because I was going to be leaving this earth and my children and my husband if it did happen. And so, you know, a lot of us will not admit this, but what I had was I had to come to terms with who I was. And the essence of me is spirituality. And when I started reading mandalas, I had no clue. I just read the colors in there. I know a little bit about color therapy, but that's as far as I have in that. Everything I shared with you, for me, is a download channel. How's that?
Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about the mandala, if anybody wanted to get into this, color therapy would be a good entry level point. And then it sounds like, to me, it sounds like developing your intuition is the other half of the coin. So
Exactly.
you'll learn about the colors and what they represent, and the energies they represent, and the meanings, and things like that.
Mhm.
And then you stack it on with the intuition. So when you see
It
things like
is.
this.
It is, and when we take a look at drawing like this, the other thing is following the intuition on how you're going to read it. Because I don't always read from inside out. I could read from outside in. And it's amazing the choices we make. And you telling me that I said, we're going to go inside out. And you're telling me that your last coloring was the center.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was as if me not knowing that, can you imagine this is what it felt like? It was that tunnel vision into the center that I probably picked up that I was going to read from the center out. And that little center, oh my goodness, although I didn't have a clue what was going to start with, you confirmed that that's what exists inside of you. That is who you are at the core. Now, I couldn't have done that if I went from the outside in.
No, absolutely. And it's funny. So does knowing the person help with the reading at all? Because I know in your earlier stages when you did this, we talked, you've done several events where you did this for people.
Yeah.
Did you know, or did you get to know the people at all? Or did you just hand them a mandala and you were like, color this? And then when they stood in front of you, you were like, this, and this.
I've done it where I have not known the person. Put it this way. Remember I told you I did a class and I had 75 people in each class?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I met them for the first time for 3 hours. So I couldn't have known who they were. And so when I was able to read the mandala for them and answer their questions, they're like, who did you talk to? Right? But see, I completed the mandala readings when they were in Minnesota and I was back in Hawaii. And so I had not even a clue who they were or what their picture, who their facial features were or anything. Wow. It was a mandala coloring. On the back of it were 3 questions. But of course I did a meditation for them before they colored, which set the tone just like what you did. And what I can say is this: when you do a meditation before doing a mandala, there is spirit that is channeled into the colors that you actually choose. And we did an experiment, Brent, one day where we had them color a mandala, and then I had a second mandala with the exact same pattern on it. And they went into what we call a deprivation tank. So it was a meditation deprivation tank. We played some beautiful music and they floated in saline solution, right? For about 30 minutes or so. When they came out, they took a shower, they were all relaxed and they colored again. And would you believe the colors actually changed into more vibrancy? Because the inner soul had been rejuvenated.
Okay, so that's one of the purposes of doing that meditation before you jump in. If you're going to do a mandala for a reading, when you do the meditation, it kind of recharges and resets everything on the inside. So then your truest self comes out onto the paper.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not so important the 3 questions they've assigned on the back or given me. Many, many times I answer questions that they are afraid to ask, and it comes out. And so that for me is not me. It is true connection that actually does that. So that's where I'm at.
So when you had the people write the questions down, you didn't even necessarily pay too much attention to the questions. It's just kind of like, it's almost like a gauge of how open they are to the results.
The questions Because sometimes the questions that someone asks is not the real question. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just curious of how you came to that conclusion. Was it the mandala and the colors and then the message that you're being, that you're channeling? You're like, that's the wrong question. And then you tell them whatever, and they're like, that's actually what I wanted. Do they fess up and admit when you're like?
You'd be surprised how many people, I never tell them that it was the wrong question. I will always ask, was that a question that you might have asked me? And they're like, I was afraid to ask that question. Right? And that is the beauty of the mandala, because, when we do anything, how we do anything is how we do everything. And coloring a mandala, from a relaxation perspective, that's what it is. When you add purpose to the mandala coloring, then we get to go a step deeper. And again, there's no training that I can give on the mandala reading, because it's just messages that I receive or I get, and then I just share, and then you take what's important to you. And you get to confirm what I'm sharing makes sense or not make sense.
It's awesome. Okay. I thank you so much for the mandala reading. This is incredible. I loved every minute of it, and so much of it hit home. And I'm going to watch this again and again, because this is just, it is something that I have not seen yet. I've seen a lot of different modalities in the spiritual space, but mandala reading is definitely a rare one.
Yeah, I actually haven't met anyone else that does mandala readings the way I've been able to do it. You know what, Brent? This is my first mandala reading in 15 years. You are my first. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, no, and you haven't lost a step of it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did now.
I do, and it reminds me that it's something that I need to be doing more often. How's that?
Sure.
So thank you very much for that opportunity.
No, thank you for letting me color it up and get that reading from you. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to have you on again. We can talk about more mandala readings. Maybe we can bring in somebody different, or we can talk about some other topics. But it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you. I thank you for your time. And is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, if you have anyone listening that would like to maybe do a mandala reading, they can contact you, or they can, and you can actually let me know. Okay.
Perfect. I'll drop a link. Anybody who wants to get a mandala reading can just post it in the comments, and we will get you two hooked up. Awesome. Thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a great day.